We will discuss the important changes in fonts and page architecture, which were characterized in the development of typography in the 18th century. Typography is defined as the art and technique of arranging the overall appearance of fonts. Typography can help change the appearance of body matter, headings, captions, other pieces of text, and illustrations. The technique of type founding and type design began with the introduction of movable type printing in the 15th century.
Monotype machine was invented in 1885 by Tolbert Lanston.
The 18th century is considered as one of the most significant moments for changes in the field of typography because there are many changes made to fonts. It was known as the age of typographic genius. In this instance, the Fournier family developed an early version of the point system for measuring type. New fonts were also being established under the orders of Louis XIV, the French king. Here we have an example of 17th century and 18th century page architecture. On the left, there's not as much white space and everything goes through one column, while on the right, there's more white space and lines that help to divide up the page and increase the readability of the paper.
Didot is a typeface invented by Firmin Didot. It is named after the famous French printing and type-producing family. This typeface is developed in the period 1784 to 1811. With the inspiration of John Baskerville's experimentation with increasing stroke contrast and a more condensed armature. The Didot font family consists of high-contrast typeface with an increase in stress.
When comparing fonts in the 18th century to earlier times, fonts transformed from freer styles of calligraphic-inspired letters to more precise and rational forms of serifs.
By definition, serifs are the small lines or strokes at the ends of the main strokes of the letters in a particular font. Sometimes, serifs are also descriptively explained as hooks or little feet at the ends of the vertical and horizontal strokes of a letter.
Baroque and Rococo aesthetic trends were greatly emphasized in the past due to the reason that majority of words were written by the uses of pointed pens. As the press print is developed through the usage of steel engraving techniques, it caused a major shift in the development of typography. Besides the traditional typography of books, graphic design became a more or less independent branch. The tensions between those two branches determined the stylistic development of 20th century's typography.
William Caslon I created the font Caslon as early as 1722, where he was the first to create English type. The type won wide acceptance and became well known in the American colonies, where it was introduced by Benjamin Franklin. It was a type in which a Baltimore printer issued the official copies of the United States Declaration of Independence. Benjamin Franklin's publications reflected his democratic spirit and were popular in format and content. Poor Richard Almanac consisted of stories about a fictional Poor Richard whose trials and tribulations provided an ideal context in which Franklin could advise his readers on politics, philosophy, and how to get ahead in the world. Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette provided information about politics to the people. Benjamin Franklin used political cartoons to illustrate news stories and to heighten reader appeal. The May 9, 1754 issue included Joan or Die, which is widely considered the first American political cartoon. Devised by Franklin, the cartoon reflected concern about increasing French pressure along the western frontier of the colony. Typography is an important part of society, then and now. The font you choose to use helps define your messages and illustrate your ideas and individuality.